the Hunter Valley, and we're on the tour bus right now heading towards there. And we just filled out our forms for gourmet lunch with wine pairing, so that sounds quite good. We'll see how it goes.
Use, but you might see a few horses, a few cows, a few sheep or goats or other uses of the land, and it's one of the nice little rural areas that people come to retire to quite often from the big cities. Now, about a 30-minute drive to our right is the city of Newcastle, which is the second largest city in New South Wales with a population of 2 million people. So 30 minutes to our right is a city where there's 2 million people living and working. And we're heading from here in a northwesterly direction into the Hunter Valley, named after Captain John Hunter, who was one of the early governors of Sydney, and he explored this area back in 1797. And whilst he didn't discover area for grapes, that was in the 1840s that was discovered, he did discover coal. And another hour in front of us, we have some pretty big coal mines here in the upper Hunter Valley. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I suffer from OCD. Right? Everything must be neat and tidy and in its place. So this home on our left-hand side really annoys me, because it's a massive home, which that doesn't annoy me, and it's symmetrical, right? But look down the driveway. The driveway doesn't line up with the front of the house. You've got to be kidding me. That really annoys me. And who would have a house like that? They've spent a lot of money building that. Number one, who would put it at the bottom of a hill? That should be on the top of a hill somewhere. And who wouldn't line the driveway up? So, wine is a very personal thing. What I might think is a beautiful wine, you think's vinegar, and vice versa. Everyone's palate's different, and everyone has a different maturity in their palate when it comes to wine drinking, and that's okay. That's what makes us different. So, some of the wines today, some of you will be going, wow, that's really good. Others of you will be going, oh my goodness, that's the worst one I've ever tasted. Probably not that bad, but you get the concept of what I'm trying to say. Now, you don't have to swallow all the wine. Of course, it's a great thing to do that, but if you do want to spit it out, there will be spittoons in all of the wine tasting, and you can spit it out or pour whatever's left in your glass into those spittoons. Wine these days also, in the old days, white wine went with white meat, like fish and chicken, whereas red wine went with red meat. Well, let me tell you, that doesn't happen today. And you can get some very lovely white wines that are beautiful with a good steak, and some lovely red wines that are beautiful with a nice grilled piece of fish. So it's not one of those hard and fast rules anymore. You'll also discover here in Australia, and this will become obvious when I say it, but it's not obvious to start with, is what we do a lot in Australia is we chill our red wines. Now that sounds really weird, doesn't it? How we would chill a red wine, because you've probably grown up in a place that might be a little bit colder than Australia. And the last thing you would do is chill a red wine. They're meant to be, opened and let breathe and warm up and all that sort of thing. But red wine is supposed to be drunk at room temperature. But the room temperature they're talking about is European room temperature, which is a lot colder than here. So on a hot summer's day, nice bottle of red, you might put it in the fridge for 2 hours, and it just reduces the temperature a little bit on the red, and then go through the same process, let it open, let it breathe for a little bit, pour it, have whatever you want. But just having, the wine not be warm makes it actually really enjoyable to drink in Australia. And the wineries will be talking about chilling reds.
Still wines. Has anybody been here before, by the way? No, no. Who's from overseas? Just about everybody. Got a couple of wagons too.
We're from Perth.
From Perth, yeah. Okay, so my name's Ross and I'm the owner of the business here along with my son. So Ernest Hill Wines is just a small family owned and operated boutique vineyard and winemaking concern here in the Hunter. And just to give you a bit of background, we purchased the property here in 1999, so coming up to 17 years ago. But the vineyard itself was first planted back in the early 70s. So a lot of the vines here are well over 40 years old, older than just about everybody here. Yeah, I'll let you make your own joke. Okay. Which is good for the quality of the wine because as vines get older, they tend to produce a bit less, but what they produce is better quality. I say a bit like people. I don't want to offend the young people. So yeah, you get a bigger root system supporting a fewer number of bunches, so those bunches get more nutrients and so forth and develop better flavours and so forth. So all your iconic wines like your Hill of Grace and Grange and so forth are made from old, low-yield vineyards. Okay, so we specialise in the traditional hunted varieties of Semillon, Chardonnay and Shiraz. We've also got a Verdelho on the list for you to taste today. Nice rosé, so we've got some refreshing wines here as well. A couple of reds from the 15 and 14 vintages. And does anybody drink sweeter style wines at all? Come on, don't be embarrassed and say everybody does. Now I've got a couple of light styles of sweet wine to show you as well. Okay, so if you've got any questions as I go through the tasting, please don't hesitate to ask and I'll do my best to answer them for you. And said wine, do you have any questions, let us. Okay. Rightio, put some wine and let us know.
Okay, so we're at Ernest Hill Winery, and this was our first stop today on the wine tour, and you just heard the opening introduction from the wine master here. We tried about 8 different wines, and all of them were quite good, but this is the only place you can get them, I guess. So we bought a couple, and yeah, it was very nice wine tasting.
Over to our left towards the Broke Mountains that you can see on our left-hand side. And we'll be having lunch in the foothills of those mountains. The Broke Mountains are the rim or the edge of an extinct volcano. So this whole area was a volcano, and as the volcano eroded away, it created this rich red volcanic loam as the soil, and that is why this area is ideal, apart from the climate, but the soil is ideal for the growing of grapevines. Coming up on our left-hand side is the Cessnock Airport, and there is a commuter service operating from Sydney up to Cessnock. But a lot of people who own their own aircraft quite often fly up here, land at Cessnock, and then use the local shuttle buses to explore the vineyards, isn't that? And if you're really wealthy, you can have your own helicopter and you land at the vineyards. So you pick a winery, you land your helicopter at that winery, have a few drinks. Well, you can't as the pilot, but if you're really rich, you've got a pilot that works for you, so you can go drinking. Yeah, great with that. Here on the right-hand side, we have the Crown Plaza Resort and Golf Course. Golf is a popular sport in Australia, and per capita, per head of population, we have more golf courses than any other country in the world. If you happen to play a game of golf during your time here, I do recommend that you wear 2 pairs of socks, just in case you get a hole in one. See, they're better after alcohol, aren't they?
More alcohol.
Oh, that's sad. Now we're going to take the next road on our left-hand side, the Broke Road, heading towards the Broke Mountains and the town of Broke, and we're going to head up into the heart of the vineyard. So we're going to see lots of names around us that some you might recognise, some you might not. We've got De Bortoli Vineyard on our right-hand side. On the left-hand side, the start of the Hungerford Hill Vineyard. And you will see, especially on the ends of lots of the rows of vines, you'll see rose bushes today. And that's not just there for prettiness. Those rose bushes are really important because anything that's going to attack the vines, such as rust or aphids, will attack the roses first. So you can see some roses over on the end here on the left hand side. So the roses will be affected by whatever disease or pestilence first, and then they'll take steps to solve that before it damages the vines. So you will see lots of roses at the vineyards. On the right hand side, Peterson's Sparkling Wine House. On the left hand side, Hungerford Hill. Part of the Hungerford Hill Flying Saucer building here, on the furthest end, the right hand end, is the Muse Restaurant, and on TripAdvisor that is the #1 restaurant in Australia.
Wow.
Voted #1 on TripAdvisor, right there in the whole of the country. Wow. Shame we don't go there for lunch for that. Thomas Allen Wine on the right hand side. The next one coming up on the right will be Leo Gate Wines. Coming up on our left-hand side is the Hunter Valley Distillery, and you can try some of those spirits and vodkas at our last stop in the village today at the cellar door there. Sitting together as a group. The toilets are in the far back corner of the restaurant. There's also a delicatessen here and gelato and ice cream and all that sort of thing. Now, for those of you with the gourmet lunch, you've got a 2-course lunch with wine. And for those of you at the cafe lunch, you've got a beautiful baguette or soup, and then you can take the little coloured card I'm about to give you when you're inside and present it at the gelato counter, and they'll give you a gelato as part of your lunch. And they also will give you a cup of tea or coffee or a cold soft drink with your lunch as well, as all part of your cafe lunch. So the restaurant's here on the left hand side where those people are walking towards the entrance there. When you're inside, veer to the left, I'll be there guiding you through to our tables. Now.
Okay, so we're doing the second winery. Come back here, Walter. I'm not done with you. Yeah, this one I can't say the name, but there it is on the sign. And we bought a couple of wines here, and they're kind of interesting. But we were here, and this is Grey Line Tour again, and it included a gourmet lunch with a wine pairing. Not impressed by the wine pairing, really. Well, first of all, can you be impressed by a wine pairing at a restaurant that's called Two Fat Blokes? Sounds cute. The food was okay. We had a choice between soup as an appetizer or antipasto, so we got the antipasto, and it was okay, but no great thrill. The only reason we didn't get soup is because we didn't know whether it would be like a seafood chowder, and we hate that kind of stuff. And we didn't see any wine at that point. Then they bring us out this stuff. Okay, pork pate, and then there was some duck. And then there were some pickled vegetables and a slice of cheese with some crackers, which presented nicely, but then they threw down 3 little tastings of wine. Didn't tell us what the wine was, didn't tell us what it went with. I mean, I thought with the pairing you were supposed to get a bit of an education to that, telling you what foods it would go with, and that was it. Quite frankly, the lesser costing meal is what we should have probably got, because they got some kind of a fancy looking sandwich and they got gelato, and it looked a lot better than what we had in a way. So, you know, right now that's 2 strikes against Grey Lines as far as I'm concerned, and we're just sitting here staring into the camera for all the world to say. So what did you think of lunch?
Yeah, that's very good.
Okay, so there you've got the definitive statement on that. So here's our third winery stop. We're inside, and this is called, what's it called?
McGuigan's.
McGuigan's? McGuigan's?
McGuigan.
Do I believe you from Canada, or
Look,
do I
turn
believe
around,
the person
turn
who lives in
around.
Perth? Is it McGuigan?
McQuinnan's, I believe.
McQuinnan?
Yeah.
Quinn? Okay, so this is their wine tasting area, and it's quite extensive, as you can see. Very big.
So you're all wine drinkers?
Yes.
No, hate the stuff. Yeah.
What's the most consumed drink in the world? Fill in. Had a great before, and then the glass of water. This is the first one up the top, guys. This is a sparkling Sauvignon Blanc. So this is made in a Sauvignon Blanc style. So Sauvignons are normally a little bit drier than this. So that's got a little bit of nice citrus. Very zesty. Actually pretty zesty. Nice and cool outside. Where are you guys from? Ireland. Oh. Of all the places to do tin wine in the world, let's see where the biggest export customer is. Ireland, the UK, closely followed by China. So China's next one. Where do you got from? Alright. Where do you got from? London. Where are you folks from? China. Norway. You can buy our wine in Norway. We send it to Norway. All these countries you can buy our wines. There you go, guys. Sparkling. So this one's made not like a traditional champagne. They just pump CO2 gas in it to keep the bubbles. Quicker. That's the same job. Can't call it champagne anymore, so called sparkling now. Very light and refreshing.
Okay, so we are now in, what's this village? Okay, we're in a village, which is where we were at the last wine tasting. Possibly why we don't remember what it's called, but now we're in a place where it's got a tunnel of beer. Let's see what a tunnel of beer is, shall we? Well, that's a bit of a letdown.
You're the first American on my like 15
Coffee,
tour
we
of
can
Australia.
install
I
already.
haven't seen anybody
Oh,
from
I got a few other
I was expecting a
Americans on my
tunnel.
tour right now.
Really?
Yeah.
You're on the wrong tour. I'm just kidding. That's cool.
So really, this isn't a tunnel, it's just a lot of shelves of beer. But whatever, how to get you in. So, would you like one of each? There's 800. Okay, so out here you can see all the different beers they have, and here you go. How would you like a beer for $55 a bottle? Yeah, I don't spend that much on a bottle of wine, so not happening.
I did the same thing. I'm from San Diego. And
Oh, yeah.
I found Ballast Point, the shirt that I'm wearing,
Yeah.
right over there, and I'm like $15 a bottle. You got
They have any Canadian beers? That's where we're from. I'd like to see what they're charging for that.
Yeah, exactly. It's gotta be amazing. John, they got Ballast Point.
Are there any Canadian beers? I don't see any. They have 800 types of beer, but they don't have a Canadian beer? What's that? Are they trying to say that we do not have good beers in Canada, but they have American beer? American beer? Really? That's just a misnomer right there. Beastie Boys. Old Mate.
You wouldn't smash into a Friday night at 14 bucks a bottle.
Old Mate. Like really, they have American beers but not a Canadian beer. Like really, American beers are water. That's the little brown paint put in. Okay, so now I remember the name of this. This is called Hunter Valley Village. Like that was hard to remember. since we're in the Hunter Valley, but this is it. It's all little shops and things. A lot of them have beer, wine, cheese. It sort of reminds me of a way, sort of Niagara-on-the-Lake-ish kind of a deal. Little cafes, coffee shops, all that kind of stuff around here. Or the other name for it is Tourist Trap. So now we're sitting in Hunter Village and I'm having a lime milkshake that kind of tastes like milk with green stuff in it. Oh well. And Walter's eating a Hokey Pokey, but they call it something different here.
I don't think it's okay, but it has really hard chunks in it.
Oh, okay, it's a hard Hokey Pokey. I don't know. It's got chunks of what in it? Chunks of caramel?
No, it's like chunks of hard.
It needs honey.
Yeah.
Oh, chunks of honey. Well, whatever. I think I should have had what he
It
had.
kind of tastes like butterscotch.
Because mine doesn't taste like anything. Oh well. Guess this is what you call going overland in Australia. We're on the bus. No road.
Ooh, that's a big male right in the middle there.
Kangaroos. Oh,
To the void here.
there's kangaroos in the wild.
Look how muscly he is. You would have seen that thing on in the internet of the guy slapping the kangaroo in the face. I wouldn't recommend doing that. We're just going to make this a photo stop. You won't be able to get.
There they are, as wild as can be. There's a couple more, right there. Big one, a little one.
Yeah, that's true.
There they go, hopping off.